Well, good morning. Thank you. Good Friday morning. Thanks for joining us. My name is Paul Swansen from the SwansenReport.locals.com, the SwansenReport.locals.com, the SwansenReport.locals.com, part of the Fightback Media Network at fightbackmedia.com. And yes, we're still looking for a coffee sponsor. This from the Daily Signal, 6 examples of woke pork projects, try to say that 10 times fast, in this stimulus, or in the Omnibus Spending bill that was just passed, the $1.5 trillion. This obviously from the Daily Signal, Matthew Dickerson, excuse me. That 2,741 pages. Do you believe anybody read it? No, not at all. They lined it up with plenty of pork. Let's take a look at some of them. Racist energy systems. Massachusetts Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey secured $995,000 for grid resilience and equity in the energy transition research at University of Massachusetts. Notice the word equity in the title, which means the left is going to redistribute taxpayer dollars to fix some perceived racist inequity in the energy system. Who comes up with this stuff? This taxpayer funding is going to be used to promote fast and fair transition to a decarbonized, they come up with some of the greatest words here, decarbonized energy system in the United States by the Energy Transition Institute and local utility companies. The current energy system is inequitable, not just overseas, but here in the US. The energy system is racist, according to the faculty director of this institute. We'll just let you kind of ponder on that for a little bit. Political museums. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown secured $500,000, $500,000 for the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, a museum in Cincinnati dedicated to telling the stories of Underground Railroad and the journey to freedom from the horrors of slavery. So, yeah, I can see that to a certain extent. We need to acknowledge, and that's an integral part of our history, and certainly something worth it. But for $500,000. Unfortunately, the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center continues to engage in modern left-wing politics. The center has lobbied in favor of the H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which would give unelected federal bureaucrats the power to veto state election laws, overriding the choice of voters and legislators. So that's not a real good thing. But hey, guess what? They got $500,000. The Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Equity Center. Now, the Hutchinson Colored School number 107, which played a role in the landmark Brown versus Board of Education case, which ended segregation in schools. After 60 years that it was, or 60 years later, after the school closed its doors, is now receiving $750,000 in federal taxpayer funds at the request of Delaware Senators Chris Coons and Tom Carper to transform the property into a center for diversity, inclusion, and social equity. No definition of what that's supposed to mean. According to the group, the center is would be used to host diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops on controversial subjects and topics such as ethnic cities, gender identity and genetics, public safety and social justice, and social determinants of health. This is part of the, again, this is part of the $1.5 trillion omnibus spending bill that was just passed. Not maybe the best use of your tax dollars. Health equity for pool improvements. Well, there's something that people in our local areas have just been screaming for, and I'm sure they have in your areas too. New York Representative Jamal Bowman was able to get $496,000 in the name of health equity for pool improvements in his home district. According to Bowman, these are essential capital improvements to YMCA pools. He cited evidence showing that African Americans and Hispanic children have lower abilities to swim than other groups. Okay. Aren't they taking swimming lessons? Are they not being offered swimming lessons? Bowman does not justify on his website why the $496,000 is needed for just the YMCA of Yonkers, but instead simply justifies the spending by saying this project is essential for minimizing disparities in access to swimming lessons and aerobics and promoting health equity. Okay. Sometimes it's better just not to say anything here. Climate studies diversity. Massachusetts Senators Markley and Warren were also able to combine two left-wing priorities into their $500,000 earmark for Worcester State University to increase diversity and inclusion for STEM students to study climate change. Well, there's a niche market that you're going to get a degree in and still be flipping burgers at McDonald's or something. Not going to be a real high demand educational degree, I don't think. Just my opinion, hey. This project would increase access and success for underrepresented incoming college students, according to Senator Warren. Oh, and then probably if you're old enough to remember the $500 toilet seats and $2,000 hammers and all that sort of stuff, this is right up there with that. Equitable shellfish aquaculture. Rhode Island Senators Sheldon Whitehouse and Jack Reed requested $1.6 million of taxpayer funding for the Roger Williams University for the development of equitable growth of shellfish aquaculture in Rhode Island. This just boggles the mind. Yes, it's unclear why shellfish aquaculture in Rhode Island needs to be woke. The amount provided in the omnibus is actually more than 3 times the amount originally asked for or sponsored by White House. Now, all of these earmarks that we've been talking about here, the shellfish, all of these that we've talked about here, were all dropped in without being properly vetted and discussed. But this is your tax dollars at work, folks. This was part of the $1.5 trillion omnibus spending bill that was just passed by the House and is heading over to the Senate. So thanks for your time and attention. My name is Paul Swansen from theswansenreport.locals.com, 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 part of the Fightback Media Network at fightbackmedia.com. Thanks for your time and attention. Leave a like and a share. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you would like to see us, anything else you'd like to see us do a video on. And we will talk with you all again real soon.